The argument about why we're having this debate has already been articulated by the honourable members who came before me, but I wanted to raise the question of why this online petition, which has been signed by 3,000 of my constituents in Hampstead and Kilburn, has evoked such emotion. Is it because Donald Trump's comments mean that he is tarnishing the entire Muslim community with the views of a small group of extremists, the views of whom ordinary Muslims absolutely condemn? Or is it because the world's largest economy might be excluding the world's second largest religious community, over 1.6 billion people in the world? Or is it because people in this country are proud of the long history that we have of welcoming immigrants, welcoming refugees, and welcoming asylum seekers? People often say that the public are apathetic about politics. This online petition, signed by nearly 600,000 people, shows that when people feel a sense of justice, when people feel that we need to stop a poisonous, corrosive man from entering our country, they will act in good conscience. But this is not just any man that we're talking about. This is a man who is extremely high profile, involved in the American show business industry for years and years, a man who is interviewing for the most important job in the world. His words are not comical. His words are not funny. His words are poisonous. They risk inflaming tension between vulnerable communities. And let me make one thing clear. We have legislation in our country to make sure we do not let people enter who are not conducive to the public good. And the honourable member for Newport West has outlined some of the people who have been banned by the Home Office for entering this country. So I looked up the cases which have 84 hate preachers who have not been allowed into the country. And I just wanted to highlight the case of one female blogger, who I won't be naming, but you're welcome to look it up. I had a look at the rhetoric that was used by this female blogger, and she was banned from entering our country. Her crime was that she equated the entire Muslim population with the views of a handful of extremists. And the Home Office spokesperson banned her from coming into our country and said, and I quote, "She is not allowed into the country because we condemn all those whose behaviours and views run counter to our shared values and will not stand for extremism in any form." The views of this female blogger, who was stopped from coming to the country, and Donald Trump's views that Muslims are all the same, are strikingly similar and have very similar resemblance in the words that they use. If legislation is in the country, should it be applied equally to everyone, or are we going to be making exceptions for billionaire politicians, even when their words are clearly falling short of the Home Office guidance? Yes, of course.
I've heard the remarks that Donald Trump's made by a large number of my constituents. She may disagree with them, but lots of my constituents would agree with what Donald Trump said, whether I like that or not. Does she think that they should be expelled from the country as a result of their views? And if not, what's the difference?
I'm afraid the honourable member should think carefully about what he's just said. It's not the same as us making a decision not to let people into the country whose views are falling short of the Home Office guidance. The honourable member for Newport West has already outlined some of the other views that Donald Trump has, whether that's views on Mexicans, whether that's views on black people. It was Donald Trump, don't forget, who ran a dog whistle campaign against Barack Obama's birth certificate to find out whether the President of America was really American. Can you imagine, in the Mother of Parliaments, if my colleagues decided to question ethnic minority MPs about whether they were really British? And let me tell you, yes.
I thank my honourable friend for giving way. Is she aware that also some of the things that people find repellent about this individual is he's not only racist, but he is homophobic and misogynistic as well?
I thank the honourable member for her intervention, and I'd like to read out what Donald Trump said when asked by Megan Stiles on Fox News. She asked him to explain why he called some women fat pigs, slobs, dogs and disgusting animals. And Donald Trump replied, "What I say is what I say." Is this the kind of man that we want in our country? The other question I wanted to ask is that I thoroughly anticipate the rebuttal that we cannot exclude people because they merely offend us or because we do not like them. But as politicians, we have to make very difficult decisions. And one of the decisions we have to make is when freedom of speech actually insults public safety, when we are worried about the safety of our constituents. And what the evidence I want to point to is the Center for Hate and Extremism has pointed out that anti-Muslim hate crimes has increased in line with the rhetoric that Donald Trump has been using in the last 3 months of 2015. And the Honourable Member for Newport West pointed out about the incident of the Hispanic man who was beaten up by 2 brothers from South Boston. When they beat this homeless man up, they broke his nose, they urinated on him, and the police report said that he justified it by saying, after I finish my point, justified it by saying, Donald Trump was right, we should get rid of all of these illegals. My point is that hate crime is being inflamed and stroked by the words that Donald Trump is using. And of course, I would not be laying all the blame of the increase in hate crimes at the door of Donald Trump. But there is a very real correlation between the words that Donald Trump is using and the increase in hate crime, which is the point that I'm trying to make, that a lot of his words means that there is real crime and real violence, and that's where I draw the line at freedom of speech. I don't have much time left, so I will just wrap up by saying I draw the line at freedom of speech when it actually imports violent ideology, which is what I feel is happening. The legislation in place is to protect the public and protect the people of Britain from individuals such as this. If legislation has been practiced before and other people have been stopped from coming into the country, the same rules need to apply to Donald Trump, which is why I feel he shouldn't have been given a visa to come and visit the multicultural country that we are so proud of.